Now you're good. Wait a minute.
I didn't hear that.
It's recording, it's just the wrong one, so.
Okay, in that case, I have 7:13, Tammy. We'll call the meeting to order. Did everybody have a chance to review the previous minutes?
I'll make a motion that we accept the previous minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. John, did you have anything else to add? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I abstained because I wasn't here.
Finances. The one thing that I did want to tell you guys is in lieu of this morning's activities. I came up afterwards and spoke with Kathy about security cameras for the town garage and replacing the one out here. It's a ring system, which the ones at the garage will be able to go directly to road commissioner's phone. So if there's any activity at the garage, they'll be notified and they can either call somebody close by to come down and check it out or check it out themselves. We also are going to replace the one on the front of the building here. That way we can record people who come up to the building after hours.
Yep.
Tammy has a question.
Kathy wanted to know if you could order one for that area too.
Back door.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see why not.
Okay, so we can do that tomorrow?
Okay.
Okay.
Mac also asked for some small cameras to go inside. So, because I know
Makes sense.
some of the things I've heard is you can't do anything to people if you just catch them on the outside of your building.
Catch him in.
So if they're on the inside, so I think with all the cameras that we ordered this morning, it was like $800 and something. Another camera tomorrow will be about another $200. So it'll be about $1,000 in security cameras. And the service for that is $100 a year. So,
Need a motion or anything for that?
it's already approved.
Okay.
It was kind of a,
No, that's fine. I
this should
just
have been
didn't-
done years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of relying on neighbors to tell us who's at the buildings, and that's not really a great feeling.
These cameras that we purchased, do they have night vision?
Yes, they're the Ring app cameras, great night vision, adjustable, what do you call it, sensibility, so we can turn it down here for the road. I have them on my, the property that I manage for the school, and other than picking up the occasional critter, they're great, you know, I mean, deer walks through at midnight, you're still gonna get a ding on your phone, so.
Are we intending to put one in both these office areas?
One in the entrance, they didn't want, Kathy wasn't interested in internal cameras. Because people coming in and out is one thing. People doing research inside, being on video, she thought was invasion of privacy. But if we have one at this back door and one at this front door, it'll catch people coming and going. Mac, we talked about putting one above the overhead doors.
Right.
So you catch everybody in the front, and then Mac asked for another one around the side. Catch people going back and forth through the no, not on the door side, on the other side for like the sand pit pile.
Okay, yeah.
And also it has all the equipment on that side. And then if anybody comes in through the door, I think there was, I can't remember if we ordered 2 or 3. I think it was 2 internal cameras. They're just little fellers. They're very inconspicuous, and you could put them so you could see in between the trucks.
Right.
And basically you couldn't get in or out of the building without being seen. And obviously in our town, we need that now. So,
Unfortunately.
yep. Yeah. So next up is visitors. Nancy, would you like to go first?
Okay.
Or you can come up together. We just asked that you just come up here.
Yes, sir.
There's a button that says push. Hit that so the green light comes on.
Yes, hi, Nancy Patch, Franklin Grand Island County Forester, work for the state of Vermont Forest Parks and Recreation. We were here tonight earlier to do a site visit up at the town road, the Belvedere Mountain Road, and looking at the damage on the sides of the roads onto private land to discuss mitigation solutions, a way forward. mainly because the multiple damage is taking place, not only to the private land, but to, well, on the private land, including a significant wetland complex, which is really harmful to habitat, water quality, et cetera, but mainly to identify where the road is. We were informed while we were up there that there's a new survey of one of the property owners that defines the road. So that's going to be incredibly helpful for identifying where that road is. We were able to show everyone that came to the site visit the damage that was taking place, and there was a good conversation there that we talked about potential solutions, and really kind of a recognition that people have been making mistakes, and to think that, you know, to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, that many of the problems that could exist may be easily mitigated once things are identified, where people can make that difference. None of us really believe that that's going to be the only answer there. But there are folks that just go there with the intent to mud bog and to go through the wetlands. So one of the things that we're open to hearing and helping the state of Vermont, Forest Parks and Rec would be happy to remain involved with this, actually intend to remain involved, because it is basically the waters of the state of Vermont. And but in trying to find that solution where we suggest that it is a multi-pronged approach. We look at all of the possibilities, all of the options that we can move forward to mitigate this problem. Claire, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't think so. I think that was a great overview.
I guess some of the solutions we did talk about, and that doesn't mean that these are solutions that you're going to go forward with it. I'm just going to repeat some of the things that people brought up, and I think we can open that up to the room as well, right? But some of the things we talked about was signage that was based on the survey that is currently in existence. So looking at some signage. Also, there was a conversation about possibly passing an ordinance at the town of Bakersfield that, as very clearly pointed out, an ordinance doesn't mean a lot unless there's enforcement, but it is a low cost, low hanging fruit kind of approach as a multi-pronged. The other really important recommendation from folks was to engage the community. There were several people there that were riders that were very, very interested in making sure that ridership continues on the town road. So I think there are people that are really truly interested in having those conversations. So one of the things that the state of Vermont is recommending is that we stay engaged at FPR as a member of maybe a long-standing committee. We all want to recognize that this problem did not happen overnight. It didn't, so the solutions are unlikely to remedy this overnight. That there is probably going to be a need for consistency, but also that ability to talk to the neighbors that are there, the ability to talk to the Conservation Commission. I'm not sure there was any Conservation Commission members there tonight, but maybe someone from the Excellent. There were absolutely members of the Conservation Commission there. And so engaging with the ad hoc judiciary committees, as well as bringing in ridership, select board, the state of Vermont, and anyone else that you think might be interested in this conversation.
And I would just add that one of the values of having a group that meets together is that it isn't all the town's responsibility. There's certain things that are the town's responsibility. There's certain things that could be the neighborhood's responsibility. There's certain things that could be FPR's responsibility or the Conservation Commission's responsibility, but we can't decide that without talking to each other. And so getting all of those people meeting regularly, problem solving together could help figure out like who is going to do what, and who could take on different tasks, and with that multi-pronged approach that Nancy said.
there any comments from the board as far as what they saw or thought during the walk? Is there any comments from the board as far as what they saw or thought during the walk?
No, I agree with Nancy in what she said about it, there is no short-term solution. It's going to take convincing people to participate and oversight on those who are not willing to participate, so therein lies the problem. People who want to be part of it aren't the ones doing the damage.
Um,
And there is damage. You can see it. You definitely can see it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. And it's a mess.
anything to add?
Nothing to add without, saying what we've all heard.
Okay.
I do think getting that committee up and running ASAP is, we've said this before, there's momentum, and I think if we can keep that going, that would be a key thing.
I think as part of the committee, we need to involve the landowners.
Yeah, I've got that on my list. Yeah, I would agree.
There's the 3 landowners that abut that property?
Yeah, that's correct. And so they, either the landowners or their agents would probably be more than willing to participate. The landowners engage consulting foresters that would also be able to speak for them.
Who is Manchester's consulting forester? Just curious.
Mike Green at the moment.
Okay, I know, Pellin is Maple
Horizons.
Yeah,
Maple Horizons is Tyler
I
Cohen.
always go say that and think about the one up in the Northeast Kingdom and go, okay. And then do Bakers have one? Do you know?
Yeah, Charlie Hancock.
Charlie, okay, perfect. Okay, so 3 approachable. Very good. I was kind of hoping, I always forget his name. The, Ewing, was he coming in or did he?
No, I think he had to head back down.
Okay, because I was kind of curious if he had any more of a take on the, town ordinances.
I can reach out to him and ask him if he has an example of what.
He said that they have them in the southern part of the
Killington,
state,
he said.
Killington, okay.
Yeah, down by Killington. I can ask him if he can get an example of it since he seems to know where they are.
I was just curious also, I guess this would be a question for Tammy to look into. Is if the town roads can be gated. He seemed to think that they could and were gated in some of the southern towns,
Oh, for the off season?
Specific times of the year.
specific
yeah.
times of the year.
I
Oh,
think that there
he
has
needs
to
to
be
be
something
upfront.
to back that up, though.
Like an, yes, yes. He
Bill's
is,
coming in. There you go. I don't have to ask him then. That's right. You've been requested.
People ask me to leave.
I was just curious if you had access to or could give us an idea of the towns in the southern part of the state that have some of the road closures ordinances. And if that's, I mean, it's not something we need right now, and that's, you can share it with John at some point. Just curious to see what their verbiage is and how they go about getting them gated. Because restricting access, I think, is gonna be the kicker on that one with the gates. Last I knew, gating a class 4 road was not legal. But I don't know about the restricted access, if that is a loophole in the system. I'm also not sure what kind of notification to landowners has to be made.
Yeah.
Or access has to be made available.
So what I'll do to find that out is I'm gonna reach out to Ron Harrington, who is very active in southern Vermont. He's got a very good reputation for working with towns and landowners. He's quite an individual, but he does do quite a lot and works with towns. So he's also a delegate for Tread Lightly. And I'll find out through him what has been done in southern Vermont. But it would be an excellent lever for us to pull when we're having these conversations and doing that self-policing. Because the word on the street is, if you wanna wheel in the late fall or in the winter, most of these roads are closed. Partly because some of them are being used for snowmobile use, so they're
Mhm.
closed. And there's a seasonal limit, and that's where the ordinance falls, so I know there's ordinances around it. But that's the biggest thing, they go, well, they'll just go up to Bakersfield because it's open.
Right.
You know, and then they don't really have, at that point, I can say, well, it's not neighborly.
Right.
But, you know, that's where we're breaking down.
So- Yeah, Todd just showed me one. This one here, Todd, is just,
It's a ATV. Paul.
yeah, but this one this closes all roads except. The one that Ewan was talking about was very specific to class 4.
Yeah.
For the muddy season, have you? And I'm hoping we find that information. It allows us, it would allow us to gate the property so that, you know,
Seasonally.
seasonally, right?
That's a really hot button.
It is a hot button for sure.
Yeah, and it's. I don't know if it has to be, I know that in Maine, it has to be the named road, it can't just be like, there is no class in Maine. Which is a big trouble for both off-road use and also for landowners, because there's archaic roads that are legal. And legal right of ways, but they don't have their own classification, so I don't know if you can say blanket statement all class 4 roads. Or if you have to name them, but I think since we really have an issue with a single road. And there's the amount of damage you can do during mud season when the frost is still in place. And this is why the long trail is closed, this is why trails are closed to hikers, because even foot traffic. Before that mud season ends can be really damaging. And so that can carry over from best practices from hiking trails.
I'd also be interested in some input from the state of New Hampshire. They seem on the outside to have a very successful off-road program, and I don't know if it's state involvement or private.
It's a big.
Hang on a minute. Erin, can you grab one of those chairs and just sit closer to the mic?
Sure.
Folks are saying they can't hear what you're saying.
State of New Hampshire has multiple ATV trails that are managed by the State Bureau of Trails. They do a lot of their management at a statewide level. And then they also have clubs at the local level, kind of like we do.
So it's a mixture.
It's a mixture, yeah. And then they also have town ordinances for town roads.
Mhm.
So, but they have more management at the state level actually than we do.
The fishing game doesn't.
There's quite a bit of interest since this whole thing started here, and obviously there's been conversations, this is a very common and popular topic and has been for years. On the off-road groups, but since this whole thing has started, there's been a major uptick in discussion about. How can I help? What can we do? You know, can we go in there and put in water bars? And so there is actually interest because with issues like Eagle Edge Road and some of the other places where there have been closures and a lot of legal trouble for towns around it. And it gets very expensive for towns.
Yeah.
And so there's some interest and there's some passionate people. And the more people that can get invested in being part of a solution, then those all become your advocates and to do the self-policing, right? But I'm not gonna go up onto your right of way because it's not neighborly to put in a water bar. But it's not about the law for me, it's, you know, I'm gonna come, I don't live here, it's your town. But I know there's people who would go up there and there's people with talent and experience and they're willing to put in the time and labor and invest their time and their money to protect and preserve that road. But I want to make sure it's being done, you know, following best practices. And it sounds like the state's interested in giving us some guidance. And then obviously with the blessing of the town and the landowners need to try to find line because you were very carefully being politically correct and not saying it, but the town, if the landowner acknowledges a problem and then doesn't prevent it from happening, then they can be liable if something happens on it. So the landowner is in a very complicated position. And so, but the off-road community by and large is interested. And it's amazing how much harder someone will work to protect something if they've got a couple days effort putting in water bars and putting up signage and going out there. And combined with a enforcement binge on a weekend from the fish cops, or sorry, the my apologies, the game wardens, would be, could be potentially very helpful. And all of a sudden, well, geez, you hear about Billy and Joe and Steven. Well, Billy got a DUWI. I didn't even get one of those on a four-wheeler while he was upside down in a tree at the time, but those kinds of things can help change the attitudes, and all of a sudden Bakersfield is open to come here and go to the town and go up and go wheeling, but you're not gonna be here in March and in April tearing stuff up. And that's gonna go a long way to protecting that road.
So,
Sorry, rant over.
no, that's,
You asked me to come in here, I just want to say.
I guess my question is why haven't the ATV clubs and such gone to the state? So that we follow the model that New Hampshire has set, which would actually release a lot of the issues from the town. Is the state just not interested in taking that on? Or is it easier for them to let the towns have to fight these fights?
Well, obviously, New Hampshire and Vermont are politically very different.
So we need to wipe out Montpelier.
Not wipe it out, but. New Hampshire didn't just give a 14% increase on taxes.
That's very true.
Yeah.
One of the ways that ATVs started, with VASA as the club, is it followed the VAST model, and the VAST model is a nonprofit managing a statewide trail system, which is unique. So New Hampshire doesn't have that, Maine doesn't have that. Their statewide system is managed by the state government, like the Bureau of Trails in New Hampshire, the Bureau of Parks and Lands in Maine. And so in Vermont, though, we actually have less government in that situation, and that it's managed by the Vermont Association of Snow Travelers, and then for ATVs, they followed that model. So it's different in part because of that, I think, and in part because of, the politics of each state. It's not just because it's not just because of politics, it's also because of how the history happened with those two organizations.
Although Vermont's in a better position than Maine is with respect to the public roads, because unlike Maine, there's actually a classification. So in New Hampshire, it's class 6 roads, and in Vermont, it's class 4 roads, which provide a specific designation. And so in a lot of ways, it brings the headache. In Maine, it's 2 property owners and they own to the center of the road. And if somebody wants to build a house and halfway the right of way, then all of a sudden it's a town headache. So you're in a better position at the local level because of the class road system than in Maine. But it does take some forethought, but I think a lot of the heavy lifting has been done by other towns. And it doesn't seem like, from my conversations with people around town, that there's a lot of interest in closing the road. And there's some interested people have voiced, I think that's fair, but it seems like the biggest thing is they want to find a way to reduce how much it costs the town to have this kind of traffic in town. They want to reduce the noise and the safety concerns on the class 3 roads leading to and from that road. I haven't heard a single person said we have to be careful about the wetlands who live in town. I haven't heard a single person say that. And so I'm not saying it's not important, because it's obviously it's a law and it's important. But the big issue is the whole community. And if we can get some town guidance, and it sounds like if you can get some support from the state, and I can draw in the Tread Lightly folks to help provide some support, there's a lot of people who would want to help Bakersfield solve this problem inexpensively and also keep the road open. That's.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the last meeting we had, the individual from VAS came in and they said that they would not be able to assist in Bakersfield at this time. Wasn't that the gist
Said
of
they had
it?
a couple big projects going, and it would probably be a year or 2 before they
Right.
were able to assist.
So vast is not exactly an option.
Vasa?
Vasa, sorry, Vasa. Keep doing it right.
Close.
Vasa.
But very different.
Very different.
I can't speak for Vasa for sure, but the conversations I've had with Tommy O'Connor is that he's very interested in helping. That they do have some financial obligations, but they are certainly, they would like to be invited by Bakersfield. They can't really do anything unless they're actually invited. And yes, it may be, there may be some time limit. I can't speak for the club, but they may have financial obligations that means they can't come in right away. But until they're invited, they're not even, they can't do anything.
They're saying they're like vampires, they're not destructive, they're not. Jesus, I'm just joking.
What group is Tommy with?
It's with that.
Yeah, he was the gentleman that was here last meeting.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, no, he told us that even we can invite them, but they've got some major projects that are gonna take them the next couple of years. So-
If he wants to be part of it, he was
Yeah.
very clear on that.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't disagree with
That's that, yeah.
getting to be a part of whatever committee is put together to discuss. What I'm saying though is that the thought that they're gonna be able to come up and actually, correct things right now is down the road away.
As far as dollars, there's not a lot that needs to be done for the sort of the staircase section, right? Where the water that's running down, we need a water bar. To put a water bar in, we need a permission from you. I'd want to get the blessing from, is it the Bakers on the north side of that road
Mhm.
to put the water bar in there? And if we had the blessing from because I'm gonna have to exceed the 3-rod road to put that in. All right,
Right, but in order hydraulically, that is a right of way, like you have the right to get the water off the road there.
and that would come from the town. I wouldn't want to, but as a private citizen to go in there. But as far as needing big dollars to do that, we need the blessing from the town. We'd need a few smarter heads than me to tell us where to do it, and then we'd need people to come in and put a water bar. And that's not that hard, and where that is on the road, that would be a really easy place to get in the required equipment to do that work.
I hear what you're saying, and I can see Nancy's thinking the same thing I am, is I wish it was that easy. You have to take into consideration slope aspect, that tells you how far apart your water bars have to be, how big they have to be. There's a bunch of different standards, and I think Dave would have been a great one to contact on that. He would be the contact on that.
And Dave would help, and he'd be here, and it's, actually, I don't think it is that complicated, I think it's actually pretty easy. But Dave would certainly he's here to be a technical advisor, he's planning to be a technical advisor. And so he's the AMP specialist at the state of Vermont. He can't get any better than that.
The whole thing is that you want to do it well, and also to the standard that could accommodate the use that it's getting, right? With like people driving over it. The other significant issue is the crossing of the creek. That could potentially cost more money depending what the town would want to do with that, but that could potentially be a larger cost
From the
in
off-road,
the future.
from the off-road community's perspective, though, having a water crossing that's within a right of way, it doesn't need to be a bridge. There doesn't need to be any improvements.
From a town class 4 obligation, it would need to be.
We'd have to involve A&R, have a water study done.
Again, you can, Dave can be an advisor there. If you need a wetland permit, that's something that can be followed through with. There are abilities to put different kinds of crossings in. You can build a ford, you can build a bridge, there's a lot of different options. And that's actually where we come in, right? We are here to offer our assistance. And that is, and as I think Claire said, that's sort of down the road. There's some steps even before that, and I think those steps really include defining the road, identifying the road, thinking about signage, thinking about education, and what Ewing has said about what makes perfect sense is that ridership, riders knowing riders. And having it be a more visible thing to discuss. I think that's where it gets done. I mean, I think this all, the damage caused came from word of mouth. So the solution is going to come from word of mouth. And I think that's something that is a little bit by little bit process.
I did see you had your hand up.
But the only person who doesn't know what a water is.
Okay, so I'm just gonna repeat what you asked Pat so that it's on record on TV. So Pat has asked what a water bar is. So, well, I'll let Nancy answer this one. This is,
It basically is an erosion device. It's a water diversion that's built so that there's a dip on one side and a mound on the other, so that stops the water and directs the water to where you want it to go off the road. And it can be done and there's multiple different ways to do it. Reinforced water bars, which would be really critical in this case. You can use a log would be a means of a reinforced water bar. You could have them on both sides. There's a lot of different opportunities, but it's just simply a diversion to stop erosion.
Thank you.
so if I was to ask your opinion from the state standard, state level, what would be the first step that you would think the town should take on that road to, I mean, besides, I'm saying for getting that road so that the water's not running down it and the erosion starts to be minimized?
Yeah, I think getting some advice from the water, Silas Rainville was also here, who works with Dave. Silas is local, fairly local, and he could offer assistance as well in just designing a water bar.
I also want to suggest that this isn't, rocket science to put a water bar in.
Right.
No.
And it also doesn't have to be a, $100,000 public works project. It's, farmers have been putting in water bars with a John Deere tractor for,
You could do that one with a shovel.
you can do it with a shovel. And a water bar is a berm and a trough.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, and I would caution that the value of putting in a water bar that fits the need and is based on common sense and some guidance could be done in a couple hours by a small group of people, and it would prevent erosion now versus let's have 7 meetings about it and waste a lot of town time and a bunch of state effort. There might be a long-term plan, but for right now, we could preserve that road this year by going up there and putting a water bar in.
But you could fix that one section of the road.
Yeah. But cut across, but if we had a crew of people up there and got 3 or 4 of the clubs involved. And so that we had 30 people up there from different clubs, everyone's in there, people are taking pictures, they're on social media, they're talking about it. The effect of that kind of work weekend is greater than the effect of the water bar.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden, you've got all those other people who are talking about it. And combined with some common sense legislation for the winter time and the shoulder seasons could really make a big difference.
I think it's a great suggestion because that would be a place where you could put some posts in, you could put some signage up, you could do the water. Honestly, I really do think a shovel right there would do amazing things. If I had a shovel went up there, I could have changed the water course right then.
I'd like to have it on the record that Nancy has offered after retirement.
If I had one.
Shovel. I didn't say she was running it, but she
Did say that he would go and sink the posts.
yeah,
John did, I believe. That was
John said I have 4x4. It's really long, a lot of things with signs.
But what he just said, actually, that the value of this is a day. And that does that's a ripple effect that for every one person that's doing something, 10 people have now been influenced. It was another suggestion I had made, and I know it might not happen this year, but talking to the school about building a kiosk. If you have a child that's in the school program and they put effort into this, people aren't going to abuse it. So having the students there with a big maybe CHCC signage on the top, this came from the Cold Hollow Career Center. You know, that would hold a lot of value to the local community.
Are you saying with pamphlets? Is this kiosk holding pamphlets?
Are typically, it's a big sign with a little roof
Okay.
and you can.
Sometimes three-sided.
Yeah, and then you can just put educational materials up, you know, describe what a wetland is, you know, if the wetland isn't rising to the top of concern for people. Maybe it's because they don't understand the value of a wetland. So you could have information regarding that, you could have information regarding the throughway and how important this is to the rider community.
Tread lightly, pamphlets, you know,
Yeah.
contact information.
My only fear of pamphlets are then you're gonna have a bunch of pamphlets blowing around on top.
You know, what you do now, you have the QR code and people just
Scan it and or you just burn it in the wood.
Right.
Right? You just carve in the wood, the message and call it a day. No, I'm serious. You
Yeah, we with the routers.
do a sign and you just route out your message.
So QR codes have to be managed by someone, but it's a good idea. So the state of Vermont has QR codes in different locations. The state also has a lot of signage. Sometimes it's metal, sometimes it's plastic that is actually located on the kiosks themselves. Go to any fish, what are they called? Fish access areas. You're going to see all kinds of information on those signs. Those are just, again, all suggestions. And what Josh had said earlier about what did you say, popcorning ideas, you know, just kind of throwing ideas out. And I think there's some really good ideas that have been tossed around both in the field and here. And
Kiosk up would be nice to involve the other town, Belvedere on the other side, and
Need to.
have them put one up as well.
And scouts, you know, this is another good Eagle Scout project, and I know there's a Girl Scouts equivalent for that, but you know, there's a lot of different organizations that. There's also a lot of crossover between those groups too, as far as the riding community and the scouting and the schools as well, so.
when people take pride in the work that they're doing, it's amazing how much self-policing can take place. When it looks like it does, it's just like, you know, you go into an apartment building that has been neglected and you're not finding anyone taking care of it. That's what this is up there right now. It's a neglected and abused ecosystem. Once it's not, people will start taking care of it.
So I agree 100% that we don't want to have 7 meetings before anything gets done. But that being said, I've heard a ton of names tonight of people who are willing to give technical assistance, and we seem to be gathering a list of people who should be involved. And I'm wondering if we can kickstart a committee. Let's get people involved.
Next step is to contact those people and ask them if they're willing to be part of it. And then set a date, get them in the same room together.
Or if you have a crew that's ready to go up there and do work.
I mean, I could make a phone call and have, you know, easily groups from 3 different groups, like who would jump at it to be, because the value of these historical roads, a lot of these roads are the only way to get into towns that are now completely gone. There's Civil War, there's family grave sites, and what makes this road a little different is because it's been so heavily, like, it's been forested and it's had so many different lifespans. It's not quite as evident as it is in the south, where you can go and there's a section of trail in the Killington area where there's 9 cellar holes, and these cellar holes are the size of 3 of these tables stuck together, because this is so old, like early. And so the history is a little bit less clear up on Belvedere, and I think that might be part of the reason why it's tricky. But there's people who would be willing to help, like this summer, to go in and put sweat equity into it.
Hypothetical question, and I'm going to hear all kinds of feedback about it. If Bakersfield were to invite a club in and open Belvedere Mountain Trail and make a loop out of town and not involve any other roads, would that help?
He's not with us.
I'm not with that.
I'm asking your opinion.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm just asking your opinion.
if I personally, in fact, I've been in conversations with several private landowners in the area. And I believe very strongly that there is a extremely viable commercial opportunity in the Northeast Kingdom split explicitly for an off-road park. In fact, there's a few people in the room who are party to these conversations, and they're not John, actually, don't look at John. No, he's, oh, not this guy. He drives a Dodge. Come on.
Keep it up.
So, so he said he was gonna drive that in today. I sent him a video of me going down the ledges.
Tell me not to take.
I said, no, don't. But yeah, there's a real, if you look to New Hampshire where there's these off-road parks where it's a private land, there's insurance concerns, there's ecological concerns, there's historical concerns with there's water management stuff, but the value of an off-road park is what it does for a local economy. It is a kickstart. And shouldn't be taken lightly. If there's a private landowner in the area that's thinking about doing something like that, there is a right market, but it's tricky I'm sure there's all kinds of state level stuff that would have to be dealt with to get there.
Was your question like to only allow ATVs on one loop or to?
One avenue, one road,
Right.
or actually it would be two roads. Belvedere Mountain Road, actually 3 roads.
Let him in, let him in.
There you go.
Oh, so
Belvedere
you're
Mountain,
saying
yeah.
strict ATV access to only those specific roads?
Yes.
Open it to the club on those 2 roads. Our town roads are open.
Oh,
That's where we're having the problem right now.
Club need to help you.
More of a limited. We used to have clubs.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of difficulty. We had a lot of complaints. We went to this system. And I don't know if it's people are more respectful or but we've had very little, knock on wood, very little problems, very few complaints since we've done this. So obviously we're reluctant to allow the clubs back in town.
Yeah. But you're saying like, if you could allow them on this one road, they might help with this situation.
Yes. Just a thought. Belvedere Mountain Road.
It's an idea that maybe this committee could think about for like, future management if the town doesn't want to take on this like ongoing management, but.
Because Vasa said they won't come back unless you lift the per vehicle permit. Correct. All of the people that I wheel with, we're all driving
Registered.
registered vehicles, so it's a different story. I don't have any skin in that game.
Right.
I think that would be an ordinance change, right? So you would basically change the ordinance where that corridor would be allowable. I think it would be impossible to police who would use it. But I think if that would bring a group in that was gonna take self-policing and management seriously from the narrow tracked vehicles. I'm not gonna start using letter acronyms because you and I will get in trouble for that. We'll get it wrong again. I don't know how the elemental Ps of that, but that could probably be a good thing. I think they would be interested, but it sounds like they won't come back unless you lift the registration fees.
I think it's certainly something to talk about. I mean, I didn't really understand what you meant at first, but limiting VASA to just that one, to the Belvedere Mountain Road, so that there's a through traffic. That's something to talk to them about, and I think it seems reasonable. Like it seems like a reasonable possibility.
Bring in more resources.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I mean, hypothetically, but you ask hypothetically, right? Because like we are obviously not speaking for them, but I think one of the things that has worked in other places is bringing in those extra resources, so I think.
Any other questions?
Essential Swanton's ATV policy with the fines that are imposed and the whole 9 yards. So you can,
He knows that.
yeah, but I mean, you can look at it and adjust. You can adjust accordingly. We can adjust accordingly to what we want to.
We have a few of those girls.
I'm saying,
It might help.
yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, both up there and here.
You've got my contact information if you're.
I think this sounds very hopeful, and I really appreciate
Enjoy retirement.
justice.
Thank you.
Can we? We've got 4 days of you.
4 days, that's it.
I'm wondering if we can get a list from you of the people that you think should be on that committee. None of us have stepped forward to say that we will make that happen.
I'm happy to do that, and I think I've already done it.
Who was Manchester's again? Sorry, that was the only one I didn't get.
The forester is Mike Reed. And I did give I think I've already offered a list, Tammy has it, of who I think should be on there.
Okay.
Is that an email, Nancy?
Your replacement?
If we have that, that's great, and I will
I'll do it again.
okay, that'd be cool. Make that, I will
Thank you.
make that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
It's either that or I swap with you and you take Brigham.
Keep trying that.
Thank you all. I'd be happy to help. And I've got some other people that need to bring in. Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Nancy.
Next up, Mr. Foot and Mr. Evans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
I'm Gary Foote and I'm representing Bakersfield Historical Society tonight.
I'm Pat Evans, I'm chairman of the Bakersfield Conservation Commission.
Okay, the reason we're both here is that
Yes.
we have the Conservation Commission's been talking to a donor for given to help restore the barn. And the problem has come up that the only way they can get the money is through a 501c3 corporation. So Alice, who's on, my wife, she's on the Conservation Commission, and she was telling me about this. So the Bakersfield Historical Society is a 501c3 corporation. So I said, well, maybe we can run it through them and give it to, So anyway, I called the donor and talked with this individual and told her what we were planning on doing. And she said, I think that would be great. The reason, I don't know if you know, the reason that she put it into a 501c requirement, C3, was that to save on taxes. It's a retirement, probably a 401k and IRA. And so she put it with this company and they take care of getting it, but making sure that it goes to a company that qualifies and it's nonprofit. So she said that she'd be that would be okay. She would go along with it. I said, well, we have a Bakersfield Historical Society has a meeting, which was last Wednesday. I will run it by the members and see what they think. So I did, and everybody was 100% for it because it would help restore the barn in some way, and that is part of our mission. So anyway, I called her back and said everything is good with as far as the Bakersfield Historical Society having them get the money to us, and then we will get it to the town. So I said, okay, is there any restrictions or anything like that in this too? she said, one of the things I've been thinking, and this is what she's given too, because I asked her, I said, well, what are we talking for money? And she said $5,000, but I want it also matched. 5,000 matched towards it from the town. If they have ARPA funds or something, the money. So there would be $10,000 available to work on the building. And he said, and I would like to have something in writing that to make sure that when you gave them the money, that they used the money for the building. And she said, I would like to something in writing. And I said, yeah, it should be good. I said, how long would it take to get the funds? She said, probably a week to 10 days. And they could have the funds available. So that is it. You got anything, Pat?
No, I think you covered everything. The Bakersfield Commission had been a 501c3 in the past,
Right.
but we investigated and found pretty much that it's pretty prohibitive to reestablish that. It would take quite a lot of time and money to gain that status again. So this is a godsend for us if another 501c3 is willing to accept it and pass it on to us.
So did she specify if that match has to be money that the town gives or grants that the town manages to get? I mean.
No, she just wants to make sure that it's
There's a
matched.
match. And can it be in kind or does it need to be
She's
money?
aware of ARPA funds and she was in,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't believe you have any ARPA funds left.
Available. No, either a grant or somebody else donating $5,000. So if you know somebody else that's got $5,000.
And is there a time limit? I mean, is this offer only good until a certain date? Is this offer only good until a certain date or, because I don't think we're gonna come up with
I
$5,000.
think so,
Okay.
but I would have to run that by her.
Just, yeah, I would have that same question because if we're gonna file for a grant for, you know, with matching funds and look for a $5,000 grant for historic preservation of some sort. It's gonna take us more than 5 to 10 days to get something like that done up, you know.
I think if you gave something, had what you're gonna be doing and you're after, and something in writing from the select board, I think I could, you know, convince her that, no, it wouldn't be hard to wait, and I think she would.
I mean, it seems that we might want to reach out to Alex.
Mm.
Our grant
And I can
writer extraordinaire and see if he's.
Question. For the Conservation Commission. You've looked into it. What's it gonna take? How far is $10,000 gonna take you?
Well,
What will it do for the barn?
as it now stands, that'd be about, what, 10 to 15% of the estimated cost of reestablishing the barn. First things, I guess, would be foundational work. Obviously, although there have been some concerns about the roof. The roof is, by the way, has been stabilized again with a cable. Thanks, to, I think, Eric Jackson and Larry Krieger. I think that was a most pressing thing. I think also reestablishing the central support for the roof too that's taken down for some reason or another, which wouldn't involve an awful lot. I don't think anyway. Presumably it would be from getting to work on the foundation. Now, how much that is, I'm not sure off the top of my head, what percentage of the 70,000 it would take to reestablish the barn. I don't know.
So in total with matching from the town, we'd be looking at basically a seventh of what we actually need to complete the project, right?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Would be, yeah, a seventh.
Well, you said about 70,000.
Yeah, about that, yeah, so that was about 10, what, 15%. Get to the math in my head here. But the barn, again, the, it's not falling down right now, so it's not an emergency, and everything we can do is gonna build on the next thing we can have done.
Yeah, you don't want to do something that's going to have to be undone to do the.
Right, yeah.
I'm just thinking if like the conservation committee could actually ask for $5,000 for a matching grant come
Town meeting.
town meeting,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? You could ask for that, it could be voted in,
Yeah.
and then that could be matching funds that could. And then we could still continue to work with Alex on
Some sort of.
grants.
Right.
And then if you had to do a matching grant from the state level, or if you had to have X percentage, you would be looking at a $10,000 lump that could be used to offset
match with the state.
to match the states, you know, may make that project look a little more viable in the state eye. So,
So this, I think this is what we can promise. We're going to continue to explore options to find funding to complete this project via grants.
Yeah.
We can set this aside in an escrow account and promise her that when it is spent, it will be spent on the barn, and that we will match that in kind, either through grant funds or, I mean, we're not going to get a grant without matching funds.
right,
Anyway.
exactly.
So,
I mean, I don't mean to be that guy, but you know, I will be. Go
Yep.
for it. So my real question is the logistics behind it, right? So you got a person donating to a 501c3. And then you're taking that donation and turning it over to the commission. And they're doing it because you're tax exempt, right?
right.
What
The over,
logistically, you know, I don't know what happens when you turn that money over.
they
to-
wouldn't, they would dole it out on a as needed basis, and it would have to, the oversight would be the responsibility of the Historical Society.
Right, so you wouldn't be cutting a $5,000 check to the town.
Hmm.
You would be the steward of the $5,000 and would have to dispense the monies to pay for the repairs. It wouldn't technically come.
Whichever way you want.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying because, you know,
We want the most legal way, so nobody gets in trouble.
And
Okay.
be all right if we wrote a check to the town, and as long as the town did it, gave it towards the building, that's all.
Okay.
Whichever way, that's a good idea.
yeah, I just, my concern is you look down the line.
Yeah.
Then there's double oversight, you know, the Historical Society is overseeing that money to make sure that it is met
Right,
the criteria that it was donated in. I think,
The only thing that I see wrong about that would be if you had it in the account and you could use it, you gotta show that you got $10,000. I mean, you know.
yeah.
To get another $10,000 grant,
oh, I
and
see
you
what you
couldn't use it
Yeah.
if you want.
That does.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's a bridge you could cross once it's,
Right.
Right.
you know, because the Historical Society isn't a town entity.
Right.
So it wouldn't look like, it would look like they had 5,000 and we had 5,000.
And meanwhile, you can explore the options of possibly using it sooner.
Yeah. Well, we can't use the 5 until we have the other 5, but you're saying. Right,
As you mentioned, possibly you could fix the foundation for the 10,000.
yeah.
I don't know what it needs, so I can't speak to that.
And time is marching, time is passing. We're not gonna sit on our hands. I'm sure we're gonna solicit other grants ourselves.
Yep.
We haven't had any luck in the last year. There was the big one that we'd asked for, but we've had a couple of smaller grants that have been turned down too. So we're bound to be struck by lightning someday.
And you are working with Alex, right?
Well, when we need him.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, he's been around
Okay.
advising here and there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
The only question is, again, you were saying something in writing to the potential
Yeah.
donor?
Yeah,
Could that possibly?
I need something in writing. to
Can
the
you
end.
draft something of the sort of thing that you need? That's what I make kids make kids all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh's signature.
that would take it off your shoulders and.
Well, you could.
Well-
Go ahead.
I'm just again on that same track, you're the steward of the funds. We could write something to say that we're going to, on town meeting day, put forth a line item that says we're going to seek to match those funds.
Yeah,
Right.
that's fine.
I think
Okay.
that we can do and
Do it,
still be
yeah.
safe
Yeah.
from any issues.
I would agree with that statement.
At worst case, we would be obligated to return the funds.
Right.
I think the other thing, Pat, in the interim, right, as we're rolling to March, is start working on your 501c3 again. Get
You
that
think so?
reinstated.
Okay.
I think because a lot of grants that are coming down the pike, that, it's a little easier when you're a 501c3
Yeah.
entity, right? So I think it would probably be best to get that reinstated for the commission. Can you hear me all right, Alice? I know I'm kind of mumbling, so I apologize. I'm just saying that we need to get the Conservation Commission back under a 501c3 designation. But I'll do whatever you need. I always am willing to help where I can. But the reality behind it is I never felt, well, that's a fib. I think I filled out the paperwork once years ago, but I don't know what's involved in reinstating it.
Right.
That's a reapply it and start over again.
You might,
We understand, and unfortunately, it's been several years, and so it's probably compounded by.
There are,
being a member of the town,
Yeah,
it may not be a possibility.
right. Because you can't be two separate organizations under the same tree.
Were we before?
Just saying.
no,
Conservation Committee was separate.
Was separate, right?
All right, well, then that would be a problem.
but I would,
It's worth looking into
It is
before
worth
we.
looking into.
but I would also say that the Historical Society is a very legitimate
Yes.
way of doing it because
Mhm.
this is a historical
Right.
building in our town. So it's a partnership that I think
Right.
can work.
Good partnership.
And that's a good point, because it does fall right underneath your purview.
Yep.
Being this building is something that we're trying to establish as a historical building and save it before it becomes something else. Right? So, I mean, it does kind of, like I said, I think we fill out the paperwork saying that we'll, on town meeting day, that we're gonna commit to add a request from the town for funding for $5,000 to match whatever verbiage we want, the funds that have already been supplied to start restoring the barn.
Tammy says she'll do that. She's gonna listen to the tape.
No. We don't talk about the town meeting day, sorry. That was,
Okay. So I think it's. You're gonna get that drafted?
Oh,
There you go.
happens. I open.
That
my
is what
mouth I
happens
get
when
to
you
work.
open that thing. So he'll draft that. I don't know if you want to come to the next meeting. Can you have that by the next meeting? That's.
Sure, I'm not gonna be here, but you could.
You can send it in.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Okay.
John will be in touch and let you know when he's got that ready and
I'll send it off to Tammy and she can get
We'll
it
get
out.
that
to everyone
signed.
to review. And to review it, make sure it's what we all want to say and.
Bakersfield Historical Society and just say that you get a
Yes.
donation.
Yeah.
You're gonna go get it from the
Yep.
taxpayer. On town meeting.
Perfect.
Right.
We'll get it. If you're going after a 501c3, then that could. You don't need us.
Yeah, well, that's what they said, that it may not be viable because we're a town, he's now considered part of the town entity.
and I also think that the more partners we have, the stronger
I think the stronger bond.
the thing is.
Right.
Cause now you can add this to the applications.
So you are suggesting we continue with the 501c3?
No.
No, stay.
I thought-
Stay the way you were.
I was originally just for
Yeah.
grant writing, but to the point of everybody to the right of me. That, you know, it may not be viable because you are considered a town entity now, that you may not be able to get a 501. And, you know, the Historical Society is more than willing to allow us to utilize their standing, which, at least in this factor.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. One of you's changed her shoes. So-
People in our future that we're applying for the money, in grant and so on, that we have the community support behind it.
I agree.
Do you want to say that on the record?
Go ahead.
Alice was just saying that she wants to ensure that we have the community support behind the grants and such moving forward.
This is better than awful.
Yes,
Mhm.
evidence of the community support.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, roads.
So please.
Now, do you want to balance? Do you want to say something? Or he's not?
No, Alex, no, it was Linda that was earlier.
If you want to be in a second
Alex.
meeting of the month.
To ask the question.
Grandfather's.
That's what we turn around, it's not a problem, that's a good to go, sign it off.
You sure?
Oh, yeah, it's. What I mean,
I know what you mean.
he's a willing guy, and today, he just happened to be around. And we said the guy and his wife, I think, are wanting to have a little 10 by 20 maybe camp out there just so they can go hiking and have a place to chill out, basically.
Okay, so what he's saying is at the bottom of Waterville Mountain, where my grandfather's old property used to be,
Yeah.
some people will know that, some people
Right,
won't.
right.
They are putting in a driveway for a camp.
I think from what he said, he's using the existing.
I would say that existing culvert must be plenty big enough.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a 36 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
Stupid
it's-
like that.
yeah. And he did say that he was
How big a
Oh.
camp? Did they say?
10 by 20 maybe, I think it was, it might have been smaller than that, but he said it would be off the snowmobile trail.
As long as we can get in with fire apparatus to,
Yeah,
that's the question that always comes up, that they put these camps in and then they become something other than a camp and we
Right.
can't get to them.
yeah, I don't know if up there you can put
I was just gonna say.
running territory.
It is,
We looked at putting a camp up there a couple times
yeah,
and it was like,
Where?
we can barely drive the tractor in here.
right.
To get wood out of here, so. More
Just
power to them
maybe
if
one
they
of
can
those, we
get
give a
that.
letter to that says we can't provide fire protection.
I would definitely make sure that letter goes out, Todd, as seasonal.
Yeah.
Because there's,
I agree.
we assign that too.
There you go. Fine.
I can take it when they sign.
It's like person.
This is one from Consolidated Stats, Stone, blah, blah, blah. They want to put from 400 our road on Waterville to.
Is that the one you went and looked at today?
This is one I was gonna go look at, and he just told me where it was and what they were gonna do and how they do it, and it sounded like a simple thing. It
Okay.
would be 2 to 3 feet off the right of way where he dug a pit and
Anybody else?
snake it under the ground. It was for,
And you were good with this? You went up, did the site visit, everything was kosher?
For a what?
it's for, a well-known person in town. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just some Joe Schmo, it's a. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say somebody's name.
I know. It's someone that resides here in town
There you go.
and it is respectable.
Let's see, it says-
Fiber net cable, or
Right.
internet cable, through Consolidated. But he's doing the work, and I was very impressed that they actually had the permit also.
That's good. Our policy is working.
Yeah, apparently,
Okay.
you gotta do that.
I guess at this time it would be appropriate to announce that. Or, I guess it would be appropriate to discuss the road crew position update. the position was offered and accepted to Brian Wescombe. On a full-time, semi-permanent
What's the other road access?
position. He stated that if we wanted to continue to run the listing, that he would be willing in the future to step down to a part-time position. In line with what we've kind of talked about, is dropping to a 3.5 man, or not dropping to, but moving to a 3.5 man crew. Um,
Can I ask about that? Because I'm, maybe this was prior to me being on the board. I
It
don't.
it's
Hasn't been
never
a full
really been a
conversation.
full conversation. It's kind of been, you know, I've talked with Mac and I've said stuff to Lance and we kind of just batted the idea around. It's never really been brought forward as a,
Good bounce to it, one of the meetings a little bit more
Yeah.
about it.
So my own concern would be, I would hate for Brian to assume that there's a part-time position there if that's not registered for yet.
Right, and he knows that that would be something that we would have to
That's what he's
budget
got,
for.
okay.
Yeah, he's sat in this seat before, so he's very familiar with the workings of the town and. As Lance and him discussed, he's kind of accepted this position as a help to the town, because he can see that we need this. And he's willing to help in any capacity that he can, and right now that's a full-time position. But he made it very clear that, you know, if we find a candidate that is better suited,
More qualified,
more
whatever. Yeah.
qualified, whatever, however you want to spin it.
Yeah.
That he is willing to step back. He didn't seem at all concerned or upset by that, you know, it was,
So I would say keep running in the ad then if that's the case.
that's what
Yep.
I said, as we keep running the ad and
Like we've got them
use
lined
him
up.
to his full abilities until
Yep.
he's.
I would like to have on the record that Brian is not qualified for the job.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Yep.
The only reason that he's said, you know, to keep doing this is because. He has other,
Oh, the irons are fine.
yeah, other things that he would pursue. Yeah.
Right.
I don't feel like I spoiled too much information in there, but I feel like he's.
Yep.
Yeah, so welcome aboard, Brian.
That's welcome.
Sucker one every minute.
Yeah.
Oh, any updates on the roads? Heard you were able to get up, Pudva.
Yep,
Good for you.
I heard it was better.
I've heard it was better. I was asked to go up and ride it. Just because when you guys graded it, it made one of the slopes that the gentleman I spoke with on the phone. Made one of the slopes very evident. And he said it pitches towards his brother's property.
Mhm.
And that was what his brother used to come in here and have concerns about, so. He was like, right now you can really see it, he says you might not have been able to see it when we went up and did our. He was like, that's just one of the things he was talking about, and he was like, I think. If we could figure out a way to tip that back, it might not wash out the neighbor's property.
Right.
Other than that,
See, I got some good feedback for the grading that's being done, especially Egypt Road. A lot of people up there very happy with what was done. They've definitely seen some improvement, so thank you.
right. Look at it, yours are turning. I don't know how to say compliments.
Yeah,
For John, but.
Yeah. John doesn't have one yet. Yeah, you haven't had no spots of concern with the rain and everything that we've been getting. Everything seems to be.
I mean, wasn't able to go look at a lot of them today
Right.
for some reason, but we did put a piece of plexiglass over that window. We framed it in. We had a carpenter come and help us. And we framed it in, put the plexiglass over it, but we put 2x like kind of like in a prison bar now.
Right.
They shouldn't be able to.
You
should
need, great, not grader, but screener.
That's what we're gonna look for next and put it on the inside, so it would be kind of framed in with that, and then
Mhm.
same exactly, but just in case.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah,
Sucks that we have to do that, but,
it does. I
uh,
think the cameras would be a big deterrent.
yep. Yep.
Mean dog.
What about the old fire station? Are you putting any down there too? I don't think there's a lot, but you got your tractor.
We don't have internet, it's the problem down there.
Right,
Sure.
So that system runs solely on internet,
Yep.
which is
Now, I
probably the
think
biggest.
probably
we just advertised it.
Well, I mean,
It's right. You say that back front story is what I'm.
Put 2x across.
There you go.
They really have
Okay.
to,
Okay.
but the
That
window.
would be the only one that they would try to probably get in because it's kind of in a dark spot.
But front side.
Yep.
You got him looking at it in the
Right.
front door and I
Yep.
think there's a security light up there.
Yep.
Oh, it's not. And there's really nothing in there anyway.
Yeah.
Just
But
storage.
they're looking, so they don't know nothing's in there. That's the problem. It's the damage you do when you get.
they tripped over stuff that was worth more than what they.
I just gonna say, yeah. Yeah,
It's, they're definitely not.
That's a quick sale.
for quick sales, that's exactly what it is, yeah. Do we have serial numbers in there and stuff or no? You know, no,
um, Looked into replacement yet, or?
I haven't.
No.
The state police, he wanted a list and I don't wanna rush into it too much, but we've got a list of the bigger stuff that we know is gone,
right,
but the smaller stuff. Doesn't look like they were in, some places and
So they didn't steal a brand new Craftsman wrench set or anything like that, okay.
we don't.
Snap on them.
They dumped out a couple of bags of our tire chains for the winter, and it looks like they must have put the batteries in the.
right.
Little easier lugging type
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
I don't-
Any update on looking at the different trucks we talked about? Okay, I just didn't know if you'd had a chance to.
I talked to one guy from Allegiance and, told him that we're gonna be looking at something. And he said they actually have a branch in Massachusetts that sells Fords.
Okay,
But I said, well, that would keep
right,
the ones around here, I guess, honest, but
right,
I just assume go more local.
I was gonna say, that's.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, same here.
I can reach out to Lamoille Valley Ford if you
Okay.
want, I know the salesman over there fairly well.
Yeah. He doesn't have any pricing right now on the international, so international and Freightliner, I'll get those two bigger numbers from him, which I know aren't gonna be
Yeah.
550-ish, but if you gotta get three numbers, that's, they'll at least give you three.
I just saw Fairfield, that's what they bought too, the new 550
Right.
Ford.
Yep.
I don't know where they picked it up, but I just met that on the road the other day.
Yeah,
Have they built the other truck yet?
it was supposed to be built last Wednesday. I called it last Monday and said, asked him where it was, and he said, it's supposed to be built today, and he got on his computer and said it's supposed to be built Wednesday.
Yeah.
But he also told me it was supposed to be built in May, so.
Yeah, yeah. Those
Yeah, we
are.
went through that with the last truck we got.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there is more production right now, and I've been seeing some trucks pop in down there with plows and stuff on
Yeah.
it now, so I'm assuming when they come in, they are going out, and we do have a slot with Viking for the body and the wing and
Yeah.
good stuff, so. It's hopefully.
No information on the grader. Haven't heard anything, nobody's called banging at the door to buy it.
Nope.
Take a piece of equipment you can trade in. It's just, no, I'm just saying, yeah, maybe a try. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, we did talk the other day too about the loaders, no spring
Right.
chicken, so.
Right.
Maybe we can.
Do something with that.
we can make calls.
You can do something, at least get you something useful.
An old loader and an old grader for a new loader.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I don't know how serious they are, but I mean,
right.
I can call the guy that deals in the Hyundais.
Mhm.
He's always willing to make a deal.
oh, absolutely.
He'll be here tomorrow if I call him this afternoon. Alright, any others for roads?
I can think of.
Nothing?
No,
Okay.
other with us.
You got nothing for us? Works for me.
Nope.
Okay,
Thanks.
Mark, Nothing. I like that. Tannerite. So I'll let you discuss that. What was your?
I just did- oh, my baby. So after our last meeting, when we realized that we don't actually know the person responsible,
Right.
we just got hearsay. We agreed that we would do a more general notice, and so I just put together a public notice. Do you want me to read it? So it says, and it's nice big font, so I don't need my glasses. The Bakersfield Select Board was recently contacted by the residents of the Joyal Road, Witchcat Road area who were concerned about explosions heard in their neighbourhood on May 23rd, 2024. There were reportedly 3 explosions between 9 and 11 a.m. The Select Board would like to remind all Bakersfield residents that how do you say that? Tannerite?
Yeah.
Once mixed and fireworks require an explosives license and a permit from Bakersfield Fire Department. If you plan to use tannerite or set off fireworks, please be sure you are in compliance with these regulations. As a courtesy, please advise your neighbours of planned explosions. Violations of these regulations should be reported to the Vermont State Police. Questions can be asked in person at regular Select Board meetings or sent to the Select Board at Town of Bakersfield. gmail.com. Now, the next question is, where are we going to put this?
So I think I would give it to Tammy.
I sent this to you on,
I think it needs to be posted in every public domain that we have access to.
Yeah.
Stores, website, board, library.
town crier.
Town crier.
That's good.
Not a good one. Yes.
Probably our website. That's what I'm saying, yeah, on the website.
So as many places as we can get it, Tammy, multiple copies if possible, I mean.
The tricky part is getting them to keep it up.
Tell them they can take it down on July 5th.
Yes. I was just gonna say.
Cause that's the day.
That's the day after Solar Waves.
I would do it. I would try to do it. Honestly, July.
Just leave it on.
July week, I'll leave it through the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I'll get in trouble on the 6th.
That's right.
I don't have any Tannerite.
We're talking fireworks.
I said I don't have any.
I don't think so, so long as they're shot straight up.
The website should be like on the homepage, like-
Yeah, for now.
Probably. Isn't there a thing, public notices on there? I thought there was a.
Well, I can tell you what, this leads us directly into.
Say the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good transition, which is another, this one.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Tonight, so I had a meeting with Sergio last week, and she honestly has done a fantastic job. I was blown away at the work she's done on that website. Right now, it's not live, and I think I emailed everybody to that effect, and I sent. Did I email or did I put it?
Something on.
Oh, I put it on Messenger. I think.
Messenger, yes.
And so Sergio did can't think of the word she uses. It's a marketing thing. Anyway, basically it shows kind of the style of the website that she's put together.
Side.
With the logo and with her explanation of that, which all I was really happy with. I think it looked really good. Questions that she needs us to make, or answers to, or make decisions on. Number one, there are a ton of PDFs that are currently stored on our website, and it's minutes and all of that stuff. So her question is, do we want to have PDFs stored on the website and have them all transferred over, or do we want a link on the website to something in the cloud where all those things are in the form of a Google Doc or whatever that might be?
Probably safer than link.
They're all public documents, so we're not talking about anything that is,
I think a link is an easier
I think the
solution.
link is a solution.
that's the right answer.
Let's say it's your gig.
The advantage of that is any changes that are made on the original document,
Yeah.
you don't have to go back and change it on the
Right.
website because we're just linking back to the
Right.
original document.
Right.
So this is all part of the make things simpler and more efficient for the person doing work on the website. The next question is, what do we want to have on like the homepage. So what are the things that are really important for people to be able to access easily? And I'm thinking it would be things like agendas and minutes. It might be forms, it might be zoning stuff, permits. So
In the defense, the website is 100 times easier to navigate than our current.
Yeah.
So I mean, these are literally like the one-click items, like
Right.
link to the meeting, you know, you want to go to the town website, click that, and boom, you're in the meeting. So like. It's just, it was so much easier to navigate that the other, sorry.
it is, and the other thing is, we can make changes at a given time, so we don't have to have everything perfect before it goes live, you know, I mean, it's gonna be an organic
So
kind of
keeping the links pretty much the same as on there now, that's the.
some, but not all, because there's also
Some of them are
Some have
duplicate,
overlap,
I agree.
Yeah.
But keeping the more basic ones that people are going to use.
Yeah, and the other thing that I really liked about the website was, like right now, John has to. Put stuff on the
Right.
town crier.
Yeah.
This,
Sorry, more questions. So that's the next thing. And we can, if anybody has a chance over the next week or so, take a look at the existing website. If there's something that you think, yeah, that really needs to be front and center, let me know. Sergio is pretty much, I mean, I think she's done a great job, so we're good there. The other part is announcements. So anytime we put an announcement on the website, it links to Facebook, whatever that is. So there's no necessity to do it twice. And the other thing is, anything that's on the Facebook page, we're going to link back to the website. So if it might be July celebration, whenever, for more information, go here. So we're always going to send people back to our website so that we get used to using it. That's where the bulk of the information is.
Has she figured out how to automatically turn on commenting?
We're going to research that. She's going to look at that. So the issue John's talking about is on Facebook, you can stop comments and what have you, but that's something that you have to, we think, physically turn off with every post.
Yes, you do.
So
Well, you can't have a website that doesn't allow any comments, total.
Well,
But it's hard to do.
you can go in, they can do smiley faces, thumbs up, that's
Yes.
the only piece that's like an emoji. That is of the 3 or 4 that are, no, we're not talking about emojis there. In Facebook of old, you could set up announcement posts that you didn't have to worry about it, it was true and now.
yeah, and it's not that way anymore.
AI meta came out, you can't do it anymore, you have to manually go in and put out comment every time something.
It's true, yeah.
And if that's what we have to do, that's not the end of the world, but
No.
it's.
We'll have to try it, if you have to go to the website.
Yeah.
We just gotta go over the page and click that, and it's literally just click and turn off comment.
Sarah Jo did say she would be very willing to train whoever's going to be using the website the most. She does not want to be the administrator of it. And I would suggest that we have one of us and somebody in. Yeah, I don't mind doing it, but it also needs to be. I don't want to wait for the question.
No, I do agree, I feel like a member of the board should be, but I also think that there's quite a few times throughout the year where we say, hey, Tammy.
Yeah. There you go.
Or if.
Kathy and I both should be trained.
Yes.
Because we use that.
I was just gonna say.
See, it's so much easier than what you currently have.
I don't know what that is at all.
So imagine that if it's not.
But it's gonna be straightforward. One final thing, we currently have a domain name that I'm assuming we're paying for. And I have no idea who knows
I
about
asked that question about a year or 2 ago, and we pay a company to post
Okay.
our website. Tammy, do you remember who Kathy told us that day?
We just need to make sure that we know who that is, because at some point we are going to. Plug on that, and we don't need to be paying for something that. we don't know.
Well, the URL itself, the actual town of Bakersfield URL will probably have to go and take, if we're not paying that right now to, for instance, to GoDaddy, which is one of the resellers or networking solutions, one of those.
Yeah.
We then will have to, if they own that technically, because they do all that, we have to get them to sell that over to them.
So that's the piece that will need to happen before, and I'm sorry, I know nothing about that.
That's
stuff.
okay.
I'm looking at John, because that's what we'll do.
So what we need, Tammy, is can you query Kathy as to who hosts our current website? I forget the name she said it. Honestly, she did tell me once before. It was a while ago.
Doesn't say it on the webpage.
I don't think so. At first I thought, ask Kathy. I don't want to speculate. Just ask Kathy and she'll, once we get that in, we can find out, do we own, it could be part of our monthly fee. We should own our own domain name. I mean, honestly. But if we're paying them as part of the fee, then we want to take that over.
Yeah.
And trust me, it's probably $9 a month. It's an org, right?
Says proudly,
$9 a year.
it says proudly powered by WordPress.
Yeah, WordPress is the frame. Think of WordPress as the frame and the picture is the website. It's how the code is written. It's back in the day, they used to manually type out code. This is more like a plug and play scenario. That's why it upsets me that it's so messed up, because it is really, it's like, an easy type piece, so. But I don't think the name of the person hosting it is on there. It would say hosted by, it also does.
Okay.
And if we could do who is. Who is.
So what I will do then is let Sergio know what we discussed tonight with those, mainly with the PDFs. And then she's pretty confident, I think, that we can get that up and running first part of July. I'm not going to give you a date specific, just in case, but certainly by next meeting, we can all look at.
Nice.
Forward the last person.
That's it.
Forward the last.
Yeah.
Not you, just us in general.
Here it comes. Drum roll, please.
Yes, open meeting law.
Oh, that needs to be on the website. It's actually
Fastdomain.com.
really important.
Fastdomain.com owns our URL.
Ask them how much they want for it.
That's who it's through, fastdomain.com. And everything else is redacted for privacy, but it does say they're out of Florida, believe it or not.
Sweet.
Whoever owns it.
So Lance, I'm assuming that the highlighted parts are the portions that.
Bluehost.com. No, you're gonna.
Where are you gonna go for your training?
It is, because this is all blanked out.
Oh, so that's not who it is.
Well, they purchased it through fastdomain.com.
We're pretty much covered except for you.
Except for me, because I didn't do this.
Hmm?
Because of this,
Well, it's required as of
Is this the new
July
open meeting
18th.
law?
January.
January 1.
Yeah.
25, okay.
Yes, new meeting
So
laws.
we also need to have something on the website which tells people how to.
A link to this would be sufficient.
I need to see where it says we have to, like, the hearing, we have to get your name out.
What's that?
Remember the hearing where you get your name out as an alternate for you?
We had to give a way for people with impairments
Yes.
to contact, a person to contact for special requirements.
Why don't we just make that the town clerk? Field the call.
Cause I didn't see that on the thing.
And it was me for the Brigham meeting, yes.
But I didn't see that in the new open meeting law requirements changes, where you had to designate a person that you could contact.
Because that one's already in effect.
Yeah, because it's not a new. So I'm going to go under the assumption that the highlighted sections are the stuff that we need to touch on as far as the new meeting laws. There will be a lot of questions about qualifies as an advisory body. Right now, we know that things like select boards, development review boards, and boards of abatements are non-advisory bodies. Non-advisory municipal bodies will need to offer physical locations for their meetings and essentially return to pre-COVID open meeting laws. We do that.
As I said, most things are
Yep.
covered.
Yep, we offer this location and it doesn't change unless and we always post it on our events. Where the site will be if it is not here. Case in point, today's first site visit at 5:30 was Belvedere Mountain Road. If you traveled the road, you would have seen us. Recording requirements. Did you have a question, Tammy?
It does say like if there's a snowstorm, you can go all remote.
Right.
Like if there's a extenuating circumstance.
Yes, I do see that here. If it was impacted by a blizzard, it could be declared a location. But quite honestly, if we reached a blizzard to that extent, we would probably just postpone our meeting to a later date.
Yep.
Just due to the fact that, well, not everybody's internet around here is,
If we've got a storm that bad, we're probably not gonna have it. Right.
Mhm.
it's probably true. In which case, we'd all be at the local tavern. All right, recording requirements. Perhaps the most distressing element of this bill is a recording requirement for all local non-advisory public bodies. Though there is an exemption if this requirement causes undue hardship on the municipality, the law now requires that non-advisory bodies record all meetings in audio or video forms and post the recording for at least 30 days following the approval of the posting of the unofficial minutes, of the official minutes, sorry.
And we meet that requirement.
We do.
Meet that.
That does tell us, though, that we are only required to keep this recording for 30 days.
After.
Yes. So I wonder if there's a way in the new, with the new website, if we could post it and after 30 days, it's archived.
Yeah.
And it's pulled off, because right now we have.
You've got a list. Yeah.
Same thing, we're gonna do
They're talking video. They're talking, it's video, right?
Yeah, video or recordings.
That's just up on Facebook, on YouTube. We'll just
Okay,
put it up.
so the link doesn't have to remain on the website,
Right.
so.
What we do is we put the link to all the videos. It's like, hey, this is our video chat, one link for everything. I believe it, right, Tammy? It's a single link.
On the homepage.
So it is 30 days after the approval of the minutes, though, that would be. So,
We meet that requirement.
right,
More than.
yes. Training requirements. Woo-hoo! Beginning January 1st, 2025, all chairs of legislative bodies, town managers, mayors will need to take an annual open meeting law training developed by the Secretary of State.
Annually.
As a. Yeah, and an annual open meeting law, yep. Other important O&L changes. Including in this bill, a new website posting requirements of an explanation of the procedures for submitting notice of an open meeting law violation to the public body or attorney general and associated text from the new law.
That's Nikki on the website.
Yep. A new video recording and posting requirement for informational meetings held within 3 days of town meeting. The video must be posted within 24 hours of the meeting and stay up until the results of the annual meeting have been certified.
Okay.
Expanding from 10 days to 30 days, the time period a municipality shall hold a hearing before it holds a meeting using the Australian ballot method of voting.
Wow.
So we have to hold a hearing within 30 days from the time period the municipality shall hold a hearing before it holds a meeting using Australian ballot. So last year. Last year we had to have a meeting 10 days before. Now we have 30 days.
30 days.
So it actually is a lot easier.
Yeah.
We don't have to meet that.
Short time.
So long as we get the budget done.
Right.
Well, last year, no, because the budget has to be done by January 21st or
Right.
23rd.
So you got.
So we almost got 2 months before the meeting happens, so. New video recording and posting requirements for the hearing held before an Australian ballot system is used.
What's funny, ours, we had that voted in. Like it's,
Yeah.
you know, we voted in that we wanted the Australian ballot.
Yes. So this, like Lance was saying, other than the chair having to do a training,
We pretty much.
where we meet all these, I will give that to you because I feel like,
Have another.
there's a
copy of it,
couple.
that's Helpful.
no,
Tony, I've got a copy at home. You gave me a copy.
okay.
already.
Well, that one's just highlighted, so you'd know
I think-
exactly what I was. Good job.
Personnel policy.
That recording of meetings, does
Yes.
that include the library?
Is
Because they're non-advisory, right?
The library.
Are you a non-advisory board, the library?
Well, I'm not on it, but I'm pretty sure they're considered not, because they're not coming to you with advice. They're running their own show.
And they should probably have some kind of recording of their meetings.
Mhm. Sounds like they're gonna have to start having their meetings here.
Because it could be.
They can do a Zoom meeting and just
Yeah.
record the Zoom meeting. They don't need all the camera.
Well, that's true.
We were doing.
Do you have a computer? Cause you could do, like John was just saying, you could do a simple laptop like that,
Yeah.
pop it open and record it, and then send the link to John
Unless they're not,
for the
unless
fire
they're
department,
governmental body,
Yes.
which are,
but we are governmental,
Yeah.
I think, because we're a 501c3.
Yeah, you could do the Zoom meeting as well.
Yeah.
yep,
I
Format.
mentioned that, because we haven't been doing that.
The key is you gotta record it up to the cloud and then we can put it on the YouTube. Whoa,
Hello.
Did someone come back?
somebody's a little late.
Is there a date when this has to go into effect?
yeah, July 1st.
July 1st, okay. So, a couple of months.
Yep.
Actually, no, they don't. They've got another week.
They have,
Oh, this is interesting.
And then there's one more thing to fill in here to get on it, and that's, let's see.
Hello.
I'm gonna sing while you're doing it. Oh, you could if you wanted to.
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Ross, so they turned off the sound.
okay. Personnel policy discussion, were we tabling that one?
Table that one.
Warrants and reports are done, review the mail. Oh, Tammy said review the.
Page that, I
Hello.
can't see anything else happening here. Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
why don't you call the
See.
Geek Squad? Maybe
Yeah.
they could help us.
What do you mean?
There's
fixing this
somebody
stuff?
there. Here, look at this.
What's-
honey.
What?
What's that
but,
say? Oh, password.
I know, but I did put, I gotta put it in again. Oh,
Hey.
You very much. And it was like extremely inappropriate. Oh, it was hilarious.
Oh, my Lord. Can you hear us?
There are a lot of beautiful people on the screen over there.
well, honey, you're,
Are you trying to join the select board meeting?
look at, there's a whole bunch of comments here.
Announcement of downtown village center tax credit program.
That was Linda's thing.
Yeah.
That's a tax credit for, that's not a designation, not a.
Give,
person.
Yeah.
give 'em permission, that's
And,
okay. you
Yeah,
know.
okay,
If you want it
and
after.
let's see.
You got it.
Yep. Okay. Can you get that to Alex?
Hello.
All I said was. Can you get that to Alex? Thank you. Mapping town of Bakersfield, please offer a proposal to update Bakersfield. Parcel maps. Do we not have?
She got another bid.
Okay. Yes, where's the other bid though?
Oh, that's,
Three is a good price.
Well, it is,
Yeah.
but you know, I couldn't, I almost finished typing something yesterday and
Yeah,
it just disappeared.
No. I think you are too. Tammy,
that's one of the other Nothing than that.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
To, by
Which one is that?
Did you stick them out?
Christina,
I
Christina
did
Chamber.
not kick them out. They left before, but I was saying I think we should remove them. I think it's somebody playing with us. Because they didn't even respond to our hellos.
He laughed, he said, they're waving to us, but we can't hear them.
Where did you get them now?
Tyler, I don't know, it ain't open. Oh, it is open.
What is it? Just go in
I didn't open
there.
it.
I opened it, you kept,
Oh, okay.
you gave it to me.
See?
Yes.
Yeah, he read the.
I don't know if this is important. Can you open it? I said, sure. Could be.
I think it might have been on Wednesday when I wasn't here,
Oh, could be, yeah.
because I would have remembered that.
So this is a certified stamped contract,
Yep.
Okay, so.
Cool.
which doesn't require our signatures.
Well, 'cause I think-
It's just, it is the finished product.
It's a work order.
Yeah, it's the finished product
Okay,
and,
in that case, file this not under G.
no.
Okay, here's the other one. Cardiographic Technologies.
Yep, that's.
That's for the pictures?
Cartograph. That sounds
Proposals.
cartograph.
For what?
for
Yeah, you said cardiograph.
Oh,
Yeah, those there are picture people.
It's like updating from our 125, so 105 that haven't been updated.
So is this,
Updates, any property that can get uploaded to the state, so possibly we might actually reflect.
okay, so how many bids have we gotten so far?
This is makes number 3. And you reached out to Tyler Technology and they don't do anything like this.
No.
Okay.
Some places, Georgia, the state of Georgia, which is also connected to Venice. There was a
Yeah, I
whole-
can't wait to pay that travel expense.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go there and check them out first.
Yeah, maybe.
Georgia or Venice?
Venice.
Venice.
What the hell would I want to go to Georgia for?
Not George, no.
There's a couple of Georgias.
Free,
Unless it's
we
pizza.
were- Send those to you, or
Okay, so do you want us to hold off?
just hold on.
Okay.
I'm holding.
Like it.
Put those in the table, fine.
No, we put them back in the new mail. So do you want me to hold those?
And we have copies of those, so you can hold those.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Trustees public funds first? How do you want us to do that?
You call Lance and say, hey, when can we meet?
No, I mean, like order, did you want us to meet with them before we can do?
Theirs is gonna determine your funding.
Right.
Then.
I would assume, Lance, what would your thoughts be?
Well-
Should they meet with the trustees about lining up funding before they come to us and
Then present it to us.
present?
You should put in a request to the trustees for funds, yes.
Okay. There you go.
See the pros, con it. Pick what ones you guys think is best, go to the public trustees, then present it to us. No one heard you.
Hold harmless estimates, permanent taxes. I haven't looked at that yet, have I?
It's not to sign, it should have been a new mail.
Okay, so I can pull it from here and put it in here. So you're seeing this, yeah, the chart, reappraisal education.
We're already working on it.
No shit. Excuse my language.
I say it's not made for kids.
It's that time of the evening.
Well, it's, we've actually had a meeting with not this person, but another person from the same office. Took their advice and have already started the reappraisal process. This is a letter from the state saying that we need.
We already have a contract
We have
right
a
there.
contract. So maybe, please, what do you need to provide? Can you, there's a please advise or please notify, can you just notify them that we have a signed contract with Tyler
Technologies.
Technologies and this year? Next year. Next year. Good morning. My name is Dino Williams. I received a phone call yesterday. The select board has chosen to interview me. This is Miss.
Anyone know Kim Wilson?
So what's you have been hacked, Bob?
That's what happens. We're not hacked. It just keeps bouncing. They're trying to hit any room they can get. Let them in.
Is it the old house?
We're gonna see in a minute. Doo-doo-doo.
All right.
All right, this is one of the people that we asked if they wanted to come in for an interview.
Right.
They got a job at the state, and this is them declining the interview in an email, which is
You want that?
perfect. We'll file that under G. Regarding academy buildings, I heard some good ideas and spaces. Voice my opinion. Let's see. Nikki Magnet. I'm gonna kick this one to Lance. I think they aren't arguing with anything. They would like to. Sounds like be involved.
Nice.
Application process period now open for Vermont diesel emissions reduction financial assistance. Would we like to get rid of our trucks and
Yes. Get electric.
get electric?
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
You plow today, the power went out.
Right after I figure out how to make it work without.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen worse.
Stop the video. What the hell's kick?
Oh, they kicked them.
Andre the Giant.
This is so good. Somebody's banging us.
Yeah.
You better hope that don't pop up.
Oh, my goodness.
For the first time.
Let's finish this up before we get another one.
Alright. Replacement of diesel powered heavy duty vehicles, engines, or non-road equipment, electric, battery, grid, fuel cells, alternative fuels. I mean,
No.
retrofitting with emission control technology.
No.
Okay, engine replacement.
No.
Okay. Cleaning,
That would, it's solar signs and.
No.
no, this is equipment.
We
I mean,
can't-
unless you want to get a diesel generator to fire up one of them signs. And then, yeah, no,
Placing engines.
G solar panel.
G.
truck.
road concerns. Good morning, Todd. I've been meaning to bring this to your attention for some time. See if something can be done. The person who is contracted to mow the Catholic cemetery or avenue always parks in the traveled portion of the road
Yeah.
on the corner. It is very dangerous as you are forced to go into the other lane around a blind corner at Florian's. I'm not sure why they don't just pull into the cemetery. Quite honestly, we don't own that cemetery. That is a Catholic cemetery issue.
That was the
And who
reply that I gave that into.
Perfect. I have no idea. The Catholic cemetery. Nope. City of Talents, that's yours.
The one over on the side.
Brigham Academy update? Oh crap, we still got two things.
Oh,
No, we
no,
don't.
yeah.
Just one.
Okay.
Brigham Academy, I think?
No, I have another.
The school.
Nothing for Brigham?
Hmm?
Nothing for Brigham?
Waiting for him to finish.
I just said anything from Brigham.
No, I'll have something for your next meeting.
Okay. I have one other. Franklin County Field Days, reached out to me today. And they are just looking for, they sent me the letter, it's in my truck, obviously I didn't grab my truck here tonight. They sent me a letter. And they're just looking for a sign from the town that says we're in support of field days. Not field days being here, not field days acquiring property, just that field days, Franklin County Field Days is a beneficial, is a beneficial thing for Franklin County.
Hey, rumor has it Horgan's property on 36 by the old pine tree farm is for sale.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just passed.
Just before Crossroad on the right.
How much do they want for that?
I don't know.
I don't see why we can't.
Do we need a motion
No,
to
no.
say?
We need a motion for me to be able to sign it and give it back to them.
I would make the motion that we sign that document saying that we are in support of. I would make a motion that we sign that document to say that we are in support of Franklin County Field Days.
I will second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I will do that and get it back to them. That is the last thing I have on my list. If somebody wants to get emotional.
John? I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
John, you
One